Red leather, yellow leather. Mind focus, focus. Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the Console Log. This is a brand new episode for your edumatainment. That's a combination of education and entertainment for your knowledge of JavaScript. This is the episode number 39 episodes, the week of June 4th to June 10th. And a lot of things happened this past week. A lot of things that I didn't really expect to have happen this past week happened at GitHub, but they did. So I'm, excited to tell you about it today. Let's begin. So the first big thing that happened this past week, in case you weren't aware, is that everybody's favorite social network for coders, GitHub, was bought by Microsoft for $7.5 billion. I have a lot to say about that. I don't really want to take too much time in this video to talk about that. I'm hoping to have actually a breakout video where I kind of just pontificate at length about what this means or doesn't mean. But suffice it to say that was definitely the biggest news item that happened. It was over the weekend, there was rumors about it, and then Monday morning it actually happened that Microsoft is buying GitHub in full. It's not going to change your day-to-day usage of GitHub. It'll be interesting to see how things change in the future, but if you want to actually hear my thoughts a little more in depth about that, check out a breakout video that I hope to be posting, should time allow, and if it doesn't, then you'll never see my thoughts. But that's Microsoft acquiring GitHub. Microsoft is really going hard on that open source thing, huh? This past week there was JSConf EU. That EU stands for Europe. You have to say it like that because that's how you actually pronounce Europe. There was a talk given there by a person named Ryan Dahl. If you are not familiar with that name, he is actually the person who created Node.js. So he's a name to be reckoned with, and he's been out of the Node.js community for a while, was burnt out by it, wanted to do other things, but he was back in the scene this past week at JSConf EU giving a talk titled 10 Things I Regret About Node.js. And if there is somebody who is going to have a strong opinion about it, it is definitely going to be the person who made the thing. Most of the stuff that he talked about weren't terrible, but there were some things that were surprising. He talked about the regrets he had about the early days of Node.js, and some of the ones that I found interesting was that there was an early version of Node.js that actually had an implementation of promises built into it, and he actually pulled it out for reasons he just wasn't really bullish on it, and he regrets actually pulling out promises from the Node.js core. And he's like, the whole Node.js ecosystem and the core API could be so different if they actually had promises built in, but they were taken out. So I had no clue that promises was there initially. He also regrets that he didn't require you to include the extension for a file, that the hardship of having to say require foo.js is very small compared to saying just require foo, where you have to actually guess if is it foo/index.js, is it foo.js, is it foo in this folder, is it foo in that folder. The complexity added in just having this cleverness was something that he regrets. But he came out with he's like, I can't really complain here and tell you that these things are not the best if I don't actually have a proposed alternative, and that was this thing he open source called Deno, D-E-N-O, which is a secure TypeScript runtime on V8. Essentially, it's a Node.js-like binary that lets you actually run JavaScript on the server side, but it has TypeScript built in, it's written with Go. A feature on the repo is that it is seg faulty by default, so it's definitely early days, but was definitely an interesting talk. If you want to hear more about it, check out the video. It's online, it's linked in the show notes, so check that out if you are more interested about him. Let's talk about React Router, everybody's favorite router for React. They had a new version come out, version 4.3.0, and the best new feature that came out with this, which I've been dying for so long, is the ability to have a redirect with params. It's a small thing, but a thing that I am so excited about. Before, if you wanted to do a redirect with React Router, you could just do it from hello to goodbye, like just a simple, just string to string, and you couldn't really deal with parameters at all. And with this new update, you can actually add parameters into the redirect, and Redirect Router will you can actually add parameters into the redirect string, and Redirect Router will actually handle interpolating that value into the new path itself. I've been implementing this myself in my own applications. It works fine, but actually having this supported upstream is great to see. Also in the world of Redirect Router is they've released a new beta version of Redirect Router, one that is supporting the new context API. The context API I talked about in the previous episode. I have a whole video just about the context API that you can look at, the links below. And this is potentially going to be the next version of Redirect Router, supporting only version 16 and up, whichever one supports the new router, the new context API. If you want to try it out, you can install npm install Redirect Router at next for the next version of Redirect Router. There's a PR open for it. It's under development right now. Looks pretty good. I haven't tried it myself. If you do try it, let me know in the comments down below though. A new version of my favorite text editor came out this past week, VS Code version 1.24, not 1.2.4. They just do the major minor. And there's a whole bunch of new features, but the cool thing about this release, it comes with TypeScript 2.9, is that for the first time, at least for me, it feels like VS Code is starting to breach the border of going from just a regular text editor to more of a full-featured IDE for your TypeScript and JavaScript applications. And the reason why I say that is that one of the new features that came with this release is the ability to, if you move a JavaScript or TypeScript file in your VS Code project, VS Code can now automatically update the import paths to that moved file. And that's a feature that if you've used IntelliJ or all these Eclipse, all these huge Java IDEs, that's, easy peasy. They've done that for years. It's not a big deal. And the fact that VS Code is now doing that is a little momentous to me. It's actually kind of really amazing that it's a subtle convenience that's not a big deal, but the fact that actually it can do it now, that's huge. So it's the small things that make for a fun programming environment, and seeing this be included by default and for free, that's really cool. There's other features as well, but that's one that I actually want you to know about, because that's the one that I'm not going to use it every day, but the fact that it's there and it's just VS Code helping me out just a little bit, it makes my day a little bit brighter, just a little bit happier, a little bit sunnier. And last but not least, I was talking about IntelliJ, which is an IDE by the company JetBrains. They had their own state of the developer ecosystem in 2018 questionnaire they sent out, and now the results are in, and there are answers to our questions about the ecosystem. And there's typical questions there, like what are your primary programming languages? The top one for this survey was Java, which isn't a surprise that it's JetBrains, which is a Java IDE company mostly. It's Java, then JavaScript, and then Python, the most popular scripting language for Java engineers, I guess. But what's cool about this developer survey was that there were some non-tech questions in there as well, which I found very entertaining to read, such as, do you listen to music when you code? Or how many hours a day do you sleep? Or the most important question, do you prefer tea or coffee? But it's good to see people that are like my own affinities there as well. So check out the survey. There's some tech information. There's also some just social information in there as well. So that was your week of the console log, episode number 39. That whole GitHub thing is just wild. I did not expect that at all. I hope you're enjoying this episode. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you have not told everyone you know about this show already, please do. The more I can share this show, the more you can share this show with me. That's the kind of logic that I'm working here with, especially before noon. The logic knows no bounds when it's a pre-noon taping of this show. There's no set time of taping for this. It's a YouTube show. Who has time for actually having a schedule? But I hope to see you again next week when I tell you about all the things that happened in the week ahead, because things happen in a week. News, entertainment, media, sleep occasionally, and even better, iced coffee. Bye.